Guys, welcome back to a new episode of Limitless. And as usual, I have with me from Los Angeles, Christina Tyndall, who is a team member, who is a friend, who is a facilitator of some of my work. Welcome, Christina.
Thanks, Zoghi. What a warm welcome.
Well, yeah, you do fall under a few of those categories. So
yeah, I wear a few different hats.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, well, I'm good.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Jinx. 2024.
2024, yeah. You had a good break? Christmas break?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I went down to Melbourne with the family. My wife is from Melbourne, so we went down there. We're down there every 2 years, every second year. And going away, we're having a break in 2 weeks, taking the family up to Byron Bay. And there's a resort there we go every year. And yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take advantage of summertime.
We're in summer here in Australia, and but I'm actually looking forward to getting back, and doing this work. There's lots of people I speak to, and everyone, hey, how was your New Year's? How was your break? And the common answer is a week too short. And it's funny that when they say that, for me, it's like it's been a week too long. Like I just my life, when I'm at work, it's yes, a holiday is completely different because you completely stop and you're complete with the family. But I don't know. I've got a pretty good life, to be honest, and whether it's working or not working, but But that was my answer anyway. I don't know what that means. It was just everyone was like, it was a week too short, and I was like, oh really? I thought it was a week too long. I'm just looking forward to getting back into it. I was already getting back into it. I was kind of waiting for my team to get met, like yourself and some of the other team members. I'm like, come on, guys! It's like, what's the date today? Where is everyone?
Yeah, I could feel some anticipation building over the break for that too. I think as the team, we all kind of know that, like, when you're given those 2 weeks to go and ponder, that you're going to come back with something for us.
I don't know what it is, but obviously it is that, what I do stop. But it's that time of the year where I reflect and I kind of check in with myself and I check in with how I feel. But I always come back, you're right, I always come back in the new year and present new ideas to the team and go, guys, this is the way I want to do it in 2024 or whatever year it is. And you're right. I'm known to come up with new ideas and changes. Of course, I've done that, and I've actually, some of the changes that I'm putting into place because I had a marketing meeting which you were part of, but there is other team members who don't know about the change yet, and I've got a meeting with the rest of the company when the rest of the company's back on Friday. Today's Wednesday, so and then I'll be like, hey guys, big changes. This is what we're doing. People get nervous though, Christina, because there was a time I did that and I said, big changes. I'm no longer going to be speaking or coaching. I'm taking some time away, and I ended up not speaking for 6 or 7 years and ended up doing aviation. So people get a bit nervous, that time of the year. What change is Amir going to come up with next? Yeah.
Well, is there anything you're ready to share with the world regarding that, the people of the universe?
People of the universe. I don't know. Am I ready to share? Yeah, sure. I can share. And worst case, if I don't like what I shared, we can not post this. But look, over the break, like I say, I sit down and I reflect, and I always ask myself, I don't know. I felt like at the end of last year that I wasn't on track. I wasn't. And I can always feel when I'm not on track. It starts to feel. I don't know, you feel a little bit disconnected. You know, when I'm on track, I feel alive, like completely alive. And it's just coming to the end of the year, I was just like, something's not right. There's something, you know, and I check in with myself. Am I doing everything that I feel is true for me? You know, am I holding something back? Yeah, I look, to just come out straight out and say it is, you know, there's a feeling that I had, and I was kind of like pushing it away, going, that's just silly. I'm not going to even entertain that feeling. But of course, you know, I'm all about the feeling. I'm all about following the feeling, and but it was just something that was a little bit outrageous, you know. So I kind of just pushed it aside, but the feeling just it stayed. It lingered, you know. The next morning, because I spent a lot of mornings at this time of the year with the sunrise. So I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm there at first light, well before the sun actually comes up. And there's something just really. I don't know. I can never put my finger on it, but if I don't get up in the mornings and have that sunrise moment, it actually does impact my life. I just had a coaching session with someone just before this, and I was explaining to them that there was a point that I had to sit down with my wife after our first child, and because once we had our first kid, which was Orlando. Life changes. Of course, we know. I started getting the dad bod. You know, I stopped exercising. But most importantly, I mean, of course, exercise is really important. But something that's more important for me is getting up in the morning and having those sunrise moments and sitting down. Because I don't just sit with the sunrise. I sit and I self-reflect. I ponder. Sometimes I meditate. But it's mostly pondering, and you know, I ask questions and things. I feel like you're downloading insights and answers and ideas and solutions, and you know, a lot of what I share in my coaching has all been downloaded in those moments, or the tip of them anyway has been. So you know, I remember sitting down with my wife and actually going, listen. I need my mornings back. And she's like, well, we've got a child now, and da-da-da. And she was angry with me. And I just remember going, in the mornings, and this sounds very harsh, you know, because for all the mothers out there, you're like, you left your wife to get up in the mornings and look after the kids themselves. I did. Because you know what? If I didn't do that, if I didn't actually set out in the mornings and make space and time for me to self-reflect and do my pondering and have those mornings, these things don't come to me. The things that I share about, like so. Anyway, I'm going off track there, but since I had that conversation with my wife, we've never spoken about it ever. It's just known in my family. Everybody knows 5 a.m, Amir's usually gone. He's either doing coaching calls at 6 a.m, because sometimes I do that, or he's gone. He's with the sunrise, and after the sunrise, he goes to the gym, and after the gym, he does ice baths and saunas, and he's got this whole health routine. And everyone in my family knows that. That's you know, now I've got 2 kids. So, and my wife, she's a trooper. She's, you know, the morning, she does the mornings. She gets up with the kids, you know, gets them ready for school and lunch boxes and all that kind of things, and she takes them to school. I get to pick them up most mornings. So most afternoons I get to pick them up. Christina, stop me! I'm going on a like total. But
no, I love though. This is relatable because I can even speak just as a woman and having. You've coached me around that as well. Like, and I've heard you speak about this before, and it's like. I just want for any women that are listening now or moms that are listening right now to know that like. The same goes for you. Like it's not a man or female thing. It's like I've had to make those choices and really, you know, go up against that discomfort of like, oh, but the mom is supposed to do this, or we're supposed to do this together or whatever. And it's like, but you have to really ask yourself and be honest with yourself about what you need in order to, you know, show up. So I just want to say that it's really relatable what you're sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, we've got, when I say I've got the mornings, I've usually got the afternoons, where I pick up the kids and, look after the kids, and my wife is at work. Or my wife has I think on Sunday mornings is her morning. She gets up and goes to Pilates, and, I look after the kids and make breakfast. Well, actually, we don't make breakfast. I take him out for breakfast, and then my wife meets us out there at the cafe. So, I shared one side of the story, but it is balanced. Although my wife won't say it's balanced. It's probably favoring me more because I've got 5 days of that. So anyway, that is a really important process, and I remember when we had our first kid, Orlando, and I stopped pondering. I stopped getting up in the morning and self-reflecting and being with the sunrise, and I started to feel really disconnected, and I started to lose my mojo, my flow, it's just the real Amir. It started to disappear, and I just, that's a frightening thought or experience for me. So since that conversation, I've been getting up most mornings at 5 a.m. and I won't go through the whole story. I've just said, that's what I get to do. But anyway, so this is what I've been doing. That was the point. The point was that I was, during the Christmas break, I was doing a lot of that, and because I wasn't running any coaching groups, I have 2 weeks off from running coaching groups. That was an extra 2 days, like, get up, sunrise, and look, so this feeling, so you probably, you're talking about this feeling. It's like a tip of an iceberg that just kind of poked me, and I'm like, go away, don't be silly. Like, and I'm just like, I'm imagining this one, and of course, the feeling continued to linger, and I just was like, oh God, am I fabricating? Because sometimes I talk about to people that sometimes we fabricate a feeling, like we want to feel that. And I'm like, am I fabricating? And of course, I don't know. For me, I don't know if I'm fabricating the feeling until I've actually decided to follow it or not follow it. Like, that's once I've made a decision that I'm following this feeling, I'm doing this, or I'm not doing it. That's when it actually reveals that, it becomes, I get clarity whether I was fabricating the feeling or not. But what made me come to the decision was that the feeling just was lingering. It wasn't going away. And you know what the feeling was? It was just to give away all my coaching content. Like, I've been selling it for a long time. It's what makes the bread and butter, predominantly in the story. Or people pay to get coaching with me, but with that coaching, I actually provide these content. So my signatory program at the moment is the Limitless program, which most people have heard about it. And then after that, I have these weekly sessions that I have with people, but I give them the content, which are pre-recorded. They're called truth bumps. So, and I know how much of an impact it makes in people's lives, and that's, everyone is always eagerly looking forward to the next truth bump. These are the clients that are currently on it anyway. And so then I just got this feeling, I just feel like to give it away. And, I guess this feeling, the tip of it maybe started from my Portugal trip. Christina, I didn't tell you about this, but, we went to Portugal, and I did the Limitless event, which is, we recorded it. So if you ever watch the Limitless, well, hang in there, because I'm going to give you the opportunity to actually watch it for free. But I did this program there, and when you watch the Limitless program, you'll see that the Portuguese people, or the people in that event in Portugal, were just, and when I say it wasn't just Portuguese, I think half the group was Portuguese. The other half was people who have flown in from all around Europe for that event. It was just a really phenomenal. Only the other day I got an email from someone going, "So I just watched your Limitless program, and I could just really feel it, and especially when you took that person on stage and you had that little process with that." And you'll see when you watch the program, I had tears in my. It makes so much impact, that program, and we had close to 100 people in that room, and not one of those people from Portugal were able to continue working with me from a coaching capacity. And I know the impact I could make if they continue working with me, but not one. Actually, there was one. Actually, one, I lied. Only one. It could actually financially invest the money and join me on my coaching program. And it's only because in Portugal, from what people told me, the average wage is $700 a month. Well, that's how much people were paying me for coaching. They're paying $700 Australian, that is. So a little bit different. It's not apples and apples here, but I couldn't expect people to pay me most of their earnings, so I totally understand. But I felt really disappointed that, I couldn't support those people. I couldn't support those people further on the journey. And the journey, our relationship ends there, until maybe one day they come to another live event or whatever. But it's disappointing for me that I couldn't support those people, because I could see how much they got from the one day they spent with me in Limitless, but then I can't support them further. And I could see the people who I do support, like yourself, you've been on the programs before, Christina, the impact, the transformation that takes place, months ahead after continuing the work. So that was a little bit of a disappointment for me. It was just like, wow, I just left all these people behind. I can't really support them. And, and I thought to myself, what am I meant to do? Just give the program to them for free? And there's a part of me that was like, yeah, why not? Why not just give it to them? And, of course, I just kind of brushed that aside. And that was in October. So come December, when I'm sitting down, this feeling starts poking, and it's just like, give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Put the content out there. So I've decided that that's what I'm going to do. And that was the big decision for me. It's going to completely break up my business model, my coaching model. And in fact, once I actually made the decision that I'm actually going to do it, I got all these new ideas about how to improve, coaching. Because I'm actually, I'm a coach, and you're a coach, Christy, and I have facilitators who coach. I actually came up with ideas on how to improve the coaching when someone actually is looking for coaching. So I got all these new ideas downloaded, and I'm currently putting that in place. I don't know, this recording is going to be released in the next week or two. But by then, I think we would start to release all the content, and we're releasing it every week on YouTube. I just chose to do YouTube because that's where you go, right? Mm-hmm. So every week, and it starts off with my Limitless program. So for those who have heard about this Limitless program, or if you're listening to this, you've heard of it, and you've never done it, well, you should be able to go on YouTube right now and get the entire program. You got free access to it. Watch it as many times as you like, and it's it's four videos, 1 hour plus videos, and then guess what? After that, I've got a coaching program that is 30 modules. 30, that's right, 30, and I usually give these modules, which are called truth bumps, as I mentioned before, to the clients every week. So I'm going to then, after I've released the Limitless, every single week, I'm going to post my truth bumps. So I start with truth bump number 1, which is called the feeling. It's all about what the real feeling is, not the fabricated feeling. You heard me talk about that before. Or an emotion. An emotion is completely different to the feeling. Sometimes people confuse an emotion. An emotion is more of a reaction that you're having to your circumstances or to what you're thinking, where a feeling is not a reaction. When you have a feeling and it's intuitive, it presents itself. It finds you. An emotion is you're anyway. There's no use me trying to soundbite it. You guess it's on YouTube. So the feeling will come out, and then truth bump number 2 is a big one. It's called reclaiming power. So it's how we can reclaim our power, because we've continuously given our power away to things, whether it's money or to how we look or to how we're perceived. The world. We give our power away to the world. So it's about reclaiming your power. And then it goes on. The next one's about reflections. The next one's about pondering. I actually teach people how to ponder. So, I talk to you. There is an art to pondering. So I actually teach that. And then the one after pondering is a big one. It's called manifestation, which is, but this is the real manifestation. It's not the law of attraction. It's not being positive. It's far more deeper than that. So, and there's 30 of them. 30 truth bumps, and I'm going to release every single one. And I should say there's 30 at the moment, Christina, because I'm still recording more. I still record, as of next week, I'm starting to record more truth bumps. So it's been huge. That's what I've felt to do, and I've decided to follow that. And once I made the decision, a lot of things are starting to land for me. Is it the right thing to do? Is it the wrong thing to do? I don't know. It's what I feel to do.
That is huge. And I just, I'd love for you to also tell everyone why they're called truth bumps, because a lot of people may not have heard that before.
Yeah. I remember when I was recording them, I recorded all these last year. Yeah. And the reason I recorded because when people come to my programs, a lot of them go, "Oh, I've got goosebumps." And they lift up their shirt or their sleeve and they go, look, and I've got goosebumps. And it's when your skin, you know what a goosebump is, right? It's Americans call it goosebumps too, right? Yeah. Or you get like a shiver up, the back of your spine, and or sometimes your whole body is just like tingling. And so that's when something really resonates at a deep level. And that happens a lot, especially when someone's doing Limitless, they're like, "Oh, God, I got goosebumps." And so I thought to myself, and people usually say to me, "I want more of that. I want more." So I recorded these to give people goosebumps, but they're actually they're truth bumps, because they're different lessons. So they're designed to be listened to or watched, I should say, because it's on YouTube, in order. So I don't know when you're listening to this podcast. Someone might be listening to this a year later, and you're like, "Oh, great!" And then you go to YouTube and you got the whole 30 plus truth bumps there. My suggestion is always start with Limitless. Okay, so watch the Limitless online first and start with truth bump number 1. If you go, truth bump number 28 is all about relationships, that's the one I'm into, you really should start with number 1, because number 1 to 6 is giving you tools. Number 1 to 5, I should say, is actually giving you the tools or practices. For example, reclaiming power. So I might talk about that in a truth bump that's about relationship, and you're really into that. But then I talk to you about, hey, you got to reclaim the power there, but you don't know how to reclaim power because you haven't listened to truth bump number 2, which is about reclaiming power. Or I might talk to you about in a truth bump let's say you're listening to truth bump number 17. You came in and went, number 17 is all about money. I want to listen to that. So you go and listen to that. It's not, but let's say it was. I don't know what truth bump number 17 is. I don't memorize them. But you go and listen to that, and I'm saying, hey, you just make sure you're following the feeling and it's not an emotional reaction. It's not, or I say you're following a feeling, you make sure it's not an emotion. And you're like, what's the difference between a feeling and an emotion? You didn't listen to truth bump number 1, which was about the real feeling. So if you I don't know when someone's going to listen to this. You might be listening to it, as they come out, but sometimes you might be listening to this very episode way down the track, maybe a year later, where all these truth bumps are on YouTube and they're all accessible. Do yourself a favor and start with the first one, and then just listen to one I'm going to be releasing every week, but if there's suddenly 6 there and you want to listen to all 6 in a week, go for it, but listen to it in order. So that's what I'm doing. It's I haven't announced this to my own company yet, so they don't know about it. But I'll be announcing it to them on Friday. How do you think they would receive it, Christina? You being in the company, what do you think? I mean, when I told you about it only yesterday, how did you feel? Because I mean, it's suddenly like the financial opportunity, or what are we gonna like? It's you know what I mean? We're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, because this is I've just taking the content from my coaching program and actually giving it away.
Yeah, well, that's what's so beautiful about this work, and having been on this journey for so long, is that I've learned through reclaiming power and through those things that my opportunities in life have nothing to do with that. And I can feel the feeling in this, like in my own feeling. And so like it's funny because I actually haven't said this to you yet. You and I had a meeting, but over the break, I had something come back to me that I had felt, I don't know, a year or so ago, because I feel like the people that are on the team, they're the ones that's like, we want to share this. Like we want to share this. We want as many people to feel this as possible.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a vision once as I was like doing some work, like maybe editing one of the programs or something. I think it was back when it was the WTF, and I was editing it for it to go online. And I just had this like vision come to me of like, imagine like a giant like map of the world, and it's all dark. And then you could just see all these lights turning on everywhere. Like all these little lights just flickering on. Because that's what I felt like when I found this work, is I felt like a light turned on in me. Like something just got switched on.
Yeah.
And I felt that feeling again over the break.
Yeah.
Like I felt that again. And then when you brought this and shared this with me yesterday, I just felt it land, that it was just like, oh, this can reach so many people now.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really, what I love about it is that thought didn't cross my mind. It didn't feel like there would be less opportunity for me. So I'm really excited about it.
We just feel, I guess we feel it will work out. Well, for me, it's trust the process, because that's what I feel to do. And every time I follow the feeling, a plan unfolds that I didn't plan. I don't know how it's going to plan out, but a plan unfolds, and when it does, you think, I always think to myself, wow, I couldn't have scripted that better. I didn't think that by following my feeling and shooting myself in the foot in a story, because that's just a story, because another story unfolds, and something else, another opportunity. That's my thing anyway. I trust that process, and I was going to say something, but I just dropped out. But
can I share? I mean, I don't want to cut you off in case it's
no,
there, but
go.
Can I share what the quote you shared with the team today?
Yeah, sure.
In the team chat, of the Picasso quote.
Oh yeah, I love that.
The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite quotes, and it's always resonated with me. But it's never landed for me. Like I just like, well, how do I give it away? Because for me, I'm a big believer that, if someone doesn't pay for something, are they going to truly value it? And it's been my biggest thing. So it's like, yeah, but if they don't pay for it, they won't even watch it, right? Or they might watch one, but if they paid for something. But then I thought to myself recently, like, what business of that is it of mine if they value it or not? Do I value it? Yes. Now, normally there's a second thought, a voice that kicks in and goes, well, if you value it, you should be charging for it, right? And don't get me wrong, like it's like there is things that I charge for. I take people for a flight in my airplane, I'll charge for, right? But man, I can't put my finger on it yet, but yeah, what came to me recently is just, what business is it of mine? For me, my business is to follow my feeling. That's my business. What do I feel to do? Whether I follow that feeling or don't follow feeling, that's my business. It's none of my business if someone listens to it and doesn't value it. That's their business. Why am I trying to control everyone else's business? Do you know, and I know that it is true. That there's going to be so many people that will have access to something that I've, pretty much put together over the last 15 years of my life. And I'm giving it away for free. And I know that the right person, and you might, the right person might be 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 500 or 1 out of 1,000, would come across this and just eat it up and just completely transform their life and become the greatest version of themselves. Right? Yeah. But the other 999 people might not value it, and I don't know what the statistics are, but what business is it of mine to try to get them to value it? Do you know? And I've battled with that, to be honest. I've battled with that for a fucking long time, I've swung from one tree to another trying to work out, how can I give this with love? How can I just give this to people? But then I would do that, and then I'll be like, I would have a reaction when they don't value it. I'm like, well, you don't fucking value it. I'm not going to give it to you. And so although this Picasso quote is one of my favorites, I've never come to terms of how I can give it away without devaluing it. And the only way I've come to terms is that, I'm going to give it away because I feel to. And what business is it of mine if someone values it or not? What business is it of mine what someone thinks of it? That's not my business. It's their business. So
that's really powerful.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to do the spiritual thing here or do the good thing. Like this is purely like this is why, right before we started our podcast, I said, "Oh, Chrissy, what do you want to talk about today?" Because we haven't seen each other for a little while. What do you want to talk about? And you said, "I want to talk about what you're doing with the company." I was like, and I said to you, what did I say to you? First up.
I don't know if I want to.
Because it's like, I don't want to, what did I say? I said, I don't want to make a big deal about it. It's what I feel to do. I don't know if there's anything else for me to say. I don't want to talk about it. And then it's like, I'm doing the spiritual thing, or I'm doing the loving thing, or fuck that. I'm doing it because I feel to. Like, I just feel to. Yeah. Like, that's it. I just feel to. It's been an itch. And that's the truth, right? I don't want to make a big deal about it. And, can I just, before you do that, one thing that really, because obviously, I presented this to our marketing director, Leah, and I presented this to her on Monday night. Today's Wednesday. So Monday night, I had this whiteboard, and I'm pitching her. Like, I felt like I was doing it because I knew she's gonna go, "Are you serious?" And of course at first she was just like, you could see her face going, "What the fuck is he doing?" Right? And once I finished my pitch, she went, "I love it." Right? And you know what the first thought I had, Chrissy?
What?
Awesome. I can now give it to all those people in Portugal who I couldn't give it to before. That was my first thought. I was just like, and I even said that to Leah. I was like, now we can give it to this Portuguese, all those people in that event who, their financial circumstances was different, average wage is $700 a month there, it's different. So, and that inspired me, so anyway, she said she loves it. So we still need to go and build it now. It's not just going, we have to go build it. And so anyway, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is something that felt really profound that you said as you were sharing about this stuff is because, last week or last episode on the podcast, we talked about deservingness, and you talked about the deservingness of this that you're sharing, of like it deserves to be out there.
Yeah.
And there's something about that then has nothing to do with, like you're saying, it's none of my business, but like it's like the deservingness in and of itself of just it being out there. It deserves to be out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just found that to be very profound.
It deserves to have its own life. I don't know, like have its own life. Like I want to put it out there and just, if it's deserving, it will go and someone's deserving to receive it. Those two are going to connect. The voice or the content, if you like, the work, right? It comes across someone who feels like they're somewhat deserving, and you're deserving because you're yearning for it. You've got the itch for it. This work connects with someone who's got the itch for it. Bang! And it's happening by itself. Anyway, I don't think we need to make more of a big deal. Like I said, I don't want to make a big deal about it. I just, what I'm realizing is that these podcasts you and I do is really like some behind the scenes stuff. Like this is my personal behind the scene process as, I don't know, the CEO of this company. Although I don't like to call myself the CEO, I joke around. I say I'm the talent. So, but I'm creating this as we go along, and this is what I love about what we're doing, like today in particular. Anyway, is that it's kind of like behind the scenes of, well, how did you come to this decision? Why did you come to this decision? Where did it start from? And I'm glad that we did do this recording.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that because when you first told me, like I said, I was just like, I don't want to make a big. But I said to myself, well, it came to her. Let's go and talk about it, because as most people know, when I'm doing these recordings, I don't pick what we're going to talk about. I don't even discuss with Christina what we're going to talk about. I trust that it comes to her, and then we converse, and here we are. So, thank you, Christina.
Yeah. Well, it came to me through what I've learned to integrate with this work, where it's like I have like a bunch of ideas written down, and I'm like, what do I want to pitch to Amir today that we're going to talk about today? And I could see that I was in my head swirling around about it, and I breathed. And I felt myself drop into my heart, and it was there. Yeah. It was just right there. And I felt, this is what we're going to talk about. And of course, you could have turned me down, and that's fine. But
I almost did. Yeah, you did. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Well, I love that we're getting some current behind the scenes, because we often get to like talk about your journey and different aspects, different things you've experienced. But this is really current, and I found like just getting to hear you share about your process today to be really relatable, and I hope we can do more of that as we keep going.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's hear from the people. Like, again, guys, if you guys like the podcast to go in the direction of, because usually the podcast is going in the direction of content. Like last week we spoke about deservingness, but now I've just released, I'm in the process of releasing all my content on YouTube. So maybe this is now going in the process of more behind the scenes. Maybe in 4 or 5 episodes, Christina, we might be catching up and going, so what happened with you're releasing all your content, and I could be like, well, nothing, or something, and I'll be honest, and it's out there. I heard back from one person, changed their lives. Great. One person's impacted. How do you change the world? One person at a time, right? So I like it. Yeah. I like it. I see how this is just, and I'd like to get the viewer to see this is how things happen for us. Like right now, we're like, see, we never even conversed about that. We never even discussed that. Like, what's the podcast going to be about if all the content is now out there? Well, there it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure we'll still talk about some content, but behind the scenes is we can talk about. Anyway, we just
it's living it. It's the real time living it. How that's unfolding, and I love that. And I would really love to hear from anyone who wants to help us guide the conversation. I don't know if we've shared the email address on the last couple of recordings or not, but it's askaz@amirzoghi.com. You can email us there with any questions or ideas you've got for upcoming episodes.
And you know what I want to add is if you go and start watching the Limitless on YouTube and start listening to the Truth Bumps, please make a comment on your experience, because that's how I know how it's going for you. I'd love to hear from you, or you could email us privately, like to email that Chrissy just said, ask@amirzoghi.com. But I'm going to be on those comments. I'm going to be responding on the comments. So if you're watching those videos, I'd be super keen to see, where's it landing for you? What's your experience of it? Answer
even better, put it in the comments, and that could even become a podcast episode at some point, an answer to one of the questions.
Absolutely, it can. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There you go. There's another little drop in there of ideas. It's just things are coming up in the moment. But that's actually a really good point. So you could actually, forget about even emailing us. Just post it on the comment, and you can do both, whatever. Post it on the YouTube comments of the video that you're watching, and if you got a question, post it there, and then before you know it, I might be answering that question on the next podcast. So
perfect, love it.
Perfecto. Thank you, Christina.
Well, thanks, Zoghi, and thank you. You've reminded me today about people of the universe, so thank you, people of the universe, for tuning in. Yeah,
people don't know what that people of the universe is, but I used to do back in the day these weekly. They were like it was a webinar. Back in the day, it was old school, very 15 years ago. And I used to run these webinars every Tuesday night, like I was in the evening, and I had this. I remember sitting in my house overlooking the ocean, the moon. I'll turn all the lights off, and there would people be tuning in for these webinars. And it was just like, and I would always start with, "Welcome, people of the universe." So
I love it.
It's an ongoing thing. But thank you very much, people of the universe.
Yes, thanks, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, Christina. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.